I was born a princess in France. But this is no fairy tale. I was traded away. My father wanted an alliance with the great empire in the East. The price was his little daughter. So at just 7 years old, I left France. I was to be empress of a land and people I did not know. And I would never see my home again. Before I even entered Constantinople, they dressed me as a Byzantine princess. France was behind me now. This was my new life. Within a year, I was married. The emperor was still just a boy. But behind us, whispers of treason were growing louder. I was soon crowned empress. My husband's mother was to act as regent until he came of age. Her rule was deeply unpopular, and it opened the door to rebellion. As divisions grew, the emperor's cousin marched on Constantinople, claiming he was there to protect the young emperor. His real target was the throne. He had himself crowned co-emperor beside my husband. But he had no intention of sharing power for long. Within weeks, my husband was dead, strangled by the very man who came to the city to protect him. Andronikos became sole emperor and his reign of terror began. To strengthen his claim to the throne, he married me himself. He was an old man. I was still a child. It didn't take long for his brutal rule to turn the empire against him. Rebellions broke out, and Andronikos answered them with terror. As the tide turned against him, he was forced to flee. He took me and his mistress with him as we escaped by sea.
Again and again, storms drove us back towards shore. Finally, we landed at Kili. Andronikos was arrested. No one came for me, they knew I was a victim. So I was free to walk away. From that day forward, I was determined to live on my own terms. I had no thought of returning to France. I had grown up in Byzantium. It was my home now. So I returned to Constantinople to make a new life for myself. As a former empress, I was given my own palace. And there I met a man I could finally love. The Lord granted our greatest wish, a baby daughter. Soon, though, crusaders came from the west. They demanded to speak with the French empress. I greeted them, but it said I refused to speak to them in French, for it was not my tongue anymore. The crusaders would not be kept at bay. They sacked the city and installed their own rulers. For the first time in centuries, Constantinople was no longer Byzantine. My husband helped negotiate peace with the new Latin rulers. In return, we were granted lands in what you now call Greece. This is where the records of me ended. We left for our new life with our daughter. I was the French princess traded away for an alliance. I survived 2 husbands, one of whom murdered the other. But in the end, I chose my own path. Who am I?